All right, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the other channel, the Real Media Observer. Observing Tulsi Gabbard here. Check this out. Holy crap, Batman.
You may have seen in the news recently, or you may be a parent who's experienced how parental rights are under attack all across the country as the government tries to usurp parents' rights and responsibility to raise their own children. Now, we should all support the Parental Rights and Education Bill that recently passed in Florida, which very simply bans government and government schools from indoctrinating woke sexual values in our schools to a captive audience that is by law required to attend.
Okay, I got two words for you. Desantis, Gabbard, and then another phrase here, 2024. All right, let's continue.
But as I read the legislation, I got to tell you, I was shocked to learn that it only protects kids from kindergarten till third grade. Third grade? What about 12th grade? Or not at all?
Wow. So Tulsi Gabbard, all right, for those of you on the right, all right, and I consider myself kind of a center-right libertarian with a few progressive tendencies, and I don't like to put any definitions on my political existence at this point, because I'm open to a lot of things. If you have discussions with me and you tell me logically how it's going to work, the people on the right constantly say to me, I came over here to watch this other channel and, you're promoting Tulsi Gabbard and she's a gun grabber. I'm like, okay, she's not a gun grabber. Okay. I doubt she would. She is a supporter. If you look back at her campaign, she wasn't Beto O'Rourke, okay? She was saying some stuff that may have seemed a little too progressive for NRA members, but I guarantee you she's not going to take your guns away. No way. She's not. She's in the military. So that would be a little bit, I would say, hypocritical. Anyway, let's continue with this because this is so good.
Now, government has no place in our personal lives. Government has no place in our bedrooms. Parents are the ones responsible for raising their kids and instilling in them a moral foundation, not the government. Now, the reality that we're facing in this country is our schools are failing. Nationally, 34% of students are below basic reading level in the fourth grade. 25% of high school graduates are functionally illiterate. Now, I'm confident that if our schools focused on educating our kids, teaching them the fundamentals, things like English, math, science, civics, history, we would see our literacy rates improve and set our young people up for success. They'll be thinking logically, thinking critically, and thinking for themselves. This is what our public schools should focus on.
All right. I don't know how you can disagree with what she just said. How can you disagree with that? And the only reason I played this clip is because a lot of people, I've noticed there are a lot of conservatives that can't wrap their brain around the fact that Tulsi Gabbard is far more conservative on certain issues than a lot of Republicans. I mean, Desantis did K through 3. She's like, why not K through 12? And I said that too, because, when you hit your teen years, that's when all of this weird stuff starts happening, and your body goes through changes. And then, these educators, they are far more likely to persuade a teenager who's confused about something to do something that maybe they didn't want to do originally, because maybe they feel now that there's peer pressure or there's new knowledge that they didn't have when they were younger, or they just feel like an outcast. And rather than getting the support that they need, and say they're a little bit confused about life in general, rather than getting, maybe some psychological help to navigate these issues, instead they're told that this is what people do when they're confused. And of course, this completely usurps the rights of the parents. All I can say to the people who are on the right is Tulsi Gabbard would get everybody from the so-called MAGA movement, and she would get a lot of old school Democrats and a lot of younger people who are coming up and who are appalled by this stuff. Polling indicates that there are a lot of younger people who don't buy into this stuff. I mean, the woman from Disney who's the executive who did that video about her kids, I'm maybe I'm in the minority, but I think that stuff is child abuse. And I've been saying this now for 2 years about the health mandates. I think some of it is child abuse. And a lot of it ends up being child abuse. And there are going to be books written. And there are going to be documentaries made that are going to back me up in the years to come, whether you like it or not. And all I know is Tulsi Gabbard, if she were the governor of a state, I guarantee you she needs to run for something. For the love of God, Tulsi. All right? As just one guy to another American citizen who serves our country, who served in Congress, who is an outspoken advocate for common sense and civility, please run for something. I mean, Desantis, Gabbard, sounds good to me. Sounds really good to me. Sounds better than Trump and whoever. Okay? And I don't hate Trump, but I think we need some fresh, younger leadership. We need people that have actually done stuff and advocate for stuff and who can effectively communicate with a new generation of people. By the way, big shout out to Elon Musk today for possibly being the catalyst in a giant move to restore free speech to various platforms, but maybe the internet in general. And that's going to benefit people like Tulsi Gabbard and yours truly and anybody else who does content here on this platform or any platform. Having to kind of duck and cover every time you post a video, it's a bit, distressing. And again, the reason I wanted to play this is, number one, I'm still a fan of Tulsi Gabbard, and I tell people, and they kind of go, yeah, Tulsi's good, but Trump's better. And I go, Trump's a big personality. Tulsi Gabbard is a humble, decent servant who's got the right experience and the right temperament and can bring people together and doesn't offend people the way Trump does. I like Trump, but I like Tulsi Gabbard better because I have the entire country, as far as my interest goes, I believe that the entire country can unite around somebody like Tulsi Gabbard. Now, those on the woke left, they're going to freak out. All those people who thought, hey, I thought Tulsi was on my team. Tulsi hasn't been on your team. And I knew this during the election. I knew it. It's not as if she wasn't saying what she really believed in the election, but she was playing to a Democratic electorate, and she said the stuff that old school Democrats appreciate, but she wasn't giving you the entire story because she wasn't asked those questions. She was asked a lot of progressive stuff, and she answered it, and some of you might not like those answers. None of those things that she really brought forth was a deal breaker for me, other than when she endorsed Biden, which I was, but again, people have said it to me, and they're correct. Everybody was supposed to endorse, right? At the end of their campaign, it was in their contract, and I should have just stuck to that rather than getting so mad, but it was just really disappointing, and a lot of other people were equally disappointed. And then people were like, well, I can't trust her. And then she's part of the World Economic Forum. She's a Klaus Schwab darling. First thing I would ask her if she ever came on this program, I would say, hey, Tulsi, what are these rumors? Because they like you. Do you like them as much as they like you? And that was years ago. And maybe they didn't really know Tulsi Gabbard all that well. She continues to speak out like this. I can't see any of these people liking Tulsi Gabbard for any reason. The fact that she finds comfort and support going over to Fox News, and it's fun to watch her go on Sean Hannity, who is part of Conservative Inc. and doesn't like to hear anything outside of his worldview of bombing first and asking questions later. See, Tulsi Gabbard is a peacemonger. She wants peace in the home. She wants peace overseas. She wants peace between the two political parties. She does kind of have a utopian vision for our existence, but you know what? I'd rather have somebody doing that and advocating for that than the common politician who just plays partisan politics and does tribalism. Tulsi Gabbard is not a tribalist. She's got deep, real values, and she understands what parents are going through right now, and good for her. I agree with her, the K through 12 bill. I agree with her. And you can call it whatever you want to, media, but it's not what the media says it is. It's pretty straightforward, and she believes that we should all jump, on board with that piece of legislation. And most people here in the state of Florida, they're on board with it. Even Democrats are on board with it in a slight majority, which is really interesting since every day, even in the local media, you're gaslit to think it's called what it's not. It's not the Don't Say Gay bill. It just isn't that. So in any event, Tulsi Gabbard telling it like it is, and in some ways, even more so than Governor Desantis, which is pretty incredible.